Imagine a place where the knowledge of the entire world was stored, a place where the greatest minds of history gathered to unlock the secrets of the universe. That place was the Library of Alexandria. Built in ancient Egypt, this library was not just a building, it was a treasure trove of knowledge, holding scrolls and manuscripts from every known civilization. It was a dream for scholars, a beacon of wisdom. But then, one fateful day, it all went up in flames. The details of how the fire started are still debated, but one thing is certain. The world lost something irreplaceable that day. Thousands of scrolls, perhaps even millions, turned to ashes in an instant. What secrets were lost forever? Did those scrolls contain knowledge far ahead of their time? Could they have changed history? Many believe the fire was an accident, but others suspect something more sinister. Some say Julius Caesar's army burned it down during a war, while others claim religious extremists destroyed it to erase certain ideas. But what if the fire wasn't an accident at all? What if powerful people wanted the knowledge gone? In those days, knowledge was power. If the library held scientific breakthroughs or political secrets, some rulers might have seen it as a threat. Maybe the fire wasn't just a tragedy, but a deliberate act to keep certain truths hidden. Just imagine if those scrolls had survived. What could we have learned? Maybe the cure for diseases, advanced technologies, or even lost histories of ancient civilizations were inside. Some historians believe the library contained blueprints for inventions that could have changed the world. Others think it held ancient maps that showed lost continents or unknown lands. If that knowledge had survived, maybe the world would be very different today. But we will never know because it was all reduced to smoke and ash. The loss of the Library of Alexandria was not just about burning books. It was about erasing ideas, discoveries, and human progress. Think about it. This library was said to hold works from Greek philosophers, Egyptian scholars, Indian mathematicians, and Chinese inventors. It was a melting pot of knowledge from every advanced civilization of that time. Some even believe it contained medical discoveries that could have saved millions of lives. Imagine if ancient scientists had already found ways to cure diseases like cancer or extend human life. If those scrolls still existed, modern medicine could be centuries ahead of where it is today. But instead of progress, humanity was forced to start over, relearning things that were already known. One of the most mind-blowing theories is that the library held early blueprints for machines and technology that we only rediscovered thousands of years later. Some ancient texts hint at early steam engines, complex astronomical models, and even mechanical computers like the Antikythera mechanism. What if we had started the Industrial Revolution 1,000 years earlier? What if space travel, artificial intelligence, or advanced engineering had been discovered long before we think? The library could have been a bridge to a future that never happened. But here's the biggest question. Was everything really lost? Some believe that before the final destruction, a few scholars managed to save some scrolls, smuggling them to secret locations. There are rumors that hidden copies still exist in private collections or underground vaults. Some even think certain powerful organizations have access to the lost knowledge, but keep it secret for their own benefit. Could it be possible that somewhere, locked away from the public, the lost knowledge of Alexandria still exists? And if so, why hasn't it been revealed to the world? If the Library of Alexandria contained knowledge far beyond its time, why hasn't anything resurfaced? Think about it. If even a small fraction of those scrolls had survived, they could have rewritten history. But strangely, no official record of recovered documents exists. This raises a disturbing question. Was the knowledge deliberately hidden? Some theories suggest that secretive groups, possibly ancient religious institutions or powerful elites, could have preserved the most valuable information. Imagine if lost scientific discoveries or forbidden philosophies challenged the beliefs of rulers or religious leaders. Controlling knowledge means controlling people. If certain ideas threaten the power of kings, emperors, or priests, wouldn't they have every reason to keep them buried? One of the most mysterious stories is about the Vatican archives. Some believe that deep within those heavily guarded chambers lie ancient manuscripts rescued from the Alexandria fire. Why does the Vatican, an institution that collects historical texts, refuse to make many of its documents public? Could some of those lost scrolls still be hidden in their collection? If they do exist, what could be so dangerous about them that they must remain locked away? Was there a truth so powerful that even modern leaders fear it? Another possibility is that remnants of the knowledge ended up in secret societies. Groups like the Freemasons or the Illuminati have long been accused of holding hidden wisdom from ancient times. What if they possess fragments of Alexandria's lost works, using them to influence world events from behind the scenes? It sounds like something out of a movie, but history has shown us that powerful organizations have always sought to control knowledge. The real question is, if someone did find parts of the lost library, would they ever share it with the world, or would they keep it for themselves? What if the Library of Alexandria held scientific knowledge so advanced that it could have changed the course of history? Some historians believe that ancient Greek, Egyptian, and Indian scholars were already working on ideas that we only rediscovered centuries later. Take Eratosthenes, for example. He calculated the Earth's circumference with shocking accuracy thousands of years before modern science confirmed it. What if similar discoveries about space, energy, or medicine were locked away in that library? Some even speculate that lost scrolls contained early understandings of electricity, advanced astronomy, or even rudimentary versions of modern technology. Could it be that civilizations long before us had knowledge that we still haven't fully grasped? There are also theories that the library stored records of ancient energy sources. Some researchers point to the mysterious Baghdad Battery, an ancient artifact that some believe was an early electrical device. If such technology existed in ancient times, was it documented in the lost scrolls of Alexandria? Imagine if the secrets of unlimited clean energy had been known back then. The world could have been powered by sustainable energy centuries before the Industrial Revolution. Instead, we had to rediscover these ideas slowly, often through trial and error. One of the most shocking possibilities is that the library contained medical knowledge far beyond its time. Ancient texts suggest that some civilizations had advanced surgical techniques, herbal medicines, and even early concepts of disease prevention. What if cures for deadly diseases had already been discovered but were lost in the flames? Could the burning of the library have set back human health by centuries? Some even believe that early knowledge of DNA or genetics could have been hidden in those scrolls. If that's true, the loss of the library wasn't just a tragedy. It was one of the greatest setbacks in human history. Beyond scientific breakthroughs, What if the Library of Alexandria contained maps and records of ancient civilizations that have been forgotten? Some researchers believe that early explorers had already discovered parts of the world long before modern history tells us. There are rumors that the library held detailed maps showing lands that do not exist on any modern record. Could these maps have contained proof of lost continents, like Atlantis, or even early knowledge of the Americas before Columbus? If such maps existed, who would benefit from their destruction? Was it possible that powerful rulers didn't want the world to know about other thriving civilizations? One of the strangest mysteries is the Piri Reis map, a real historical document from 1513 that shows Antarctica centuries before it was officially discovered. How could an ancient map depict a continent covered in ice when modern explorers only mapped it in recent times? Some theorists suggest that this knowledge could have come from much older sources, perhaps even from documents stored in the Library of Alexandria. If that's the case, it means ancient scholars may have known far more about geography and exploration than we ever imagined. And it doesn't stop at maps. Some believe the library contained records of vanished civilizations with knowledge far beyond what we give them credit for. What if detailed accounts of places like Atlantis, the Indus Valley, or mysterious African kingdoms were kept there? If someone wanted to control history, erasing the past would be the first step. Imagine if we had written evidence proving that highly advanced societies existed long before our modern era. It could change everything we know about human history. But instead, that knowledge was lost. Whether by accident or by design. The Library of Alexandria was not just a place for storing scrolls. It was a hub for the greatest minds of the ancient world. Philosophers, scientists, and mathematicians from different civilizations gathered there to exchange ideas, debate theories, and conduct experiments. But what if some of their research was considered too dangerous? What if certain discoveries were hidden or destroyed because they threatened the power of rulers or religious leaders? There are whispers that some scholars working in the library had stumbled upon knowledge that could have changed history forever, only for it to vanish along with the library itself. One of the most fascinating possibilities is that these scholars had already begun experimenting with technology far beyond their time. Some ancient texts describe machines that sound eerily similar to modern inventions. There are references to devices that could generate steam power, gears that resemble early computers, and even strange descriptions that sound like flying machines. Could it be that ancient engineers had already figured out principles of mechanics and physics that we only rediscovered much later? If such knowledge existed, why was it never passed down? Did someone ensure that it was lost? Then there's the question of forbidden knowledge, ideas that challenge the status quo. In many societies, new discoveries were seen as threats rather than progress. Imagine if the library contained evidence that the Earth revolved around the Sun centuries before Copernicus and Galileo. Or what if it held scrolls that questioned powerful religious beliefs of the time? If such knowledge had been widely shared, it could have shifted power away from kings and priests. Was the destruction of the library just an accident? Or was it an intentional move to keep knowledge out of the hands of the common people? Even today, scholars and historians struggle to answer the biggest mystery of all. What exactly was lost when the Library of Alexandria burned? The truth is, no one knows for sure. Unlike modern libraries with digital backups, Those ancient scrolls existed in a time when knowledge was fragile. If a book burned, it was gone forever. And because no complete record of the library's contents was ever made, we can only guess what was inside. Some researchers believe that fragments of Alexandria's lost wisdom still exist, scattered in private collections, hidden in ancient monasteries, or buried beneath forgotten ruins. But if anyone has found such documents, they aren't sharing them with the world. Interestingly, modern science continues to uncover things that seem to support the idea that ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we thought. Take, for example, the Antikythera mechanism. A mysterious ancient Greek device discovered in a shipwreck. It was a complex mechanical calculator capable of tracking astronomical positions with shocking accuracy. It's clear evidence that ancient scholars had a deep understanding of mathematics and engineering. What if the Library of Alexandria held even more advanced knowledge like this? Could we be slowly rediscovering lost wisdom piece by piece? And here's where things get even more interesting. Some people believe that governments and powerful institutions may already have access to fragments of this lost knowledge. What if breakthroughs in technology, medicine, or even space exploration are not new discoveries but rediscovered ideas? If ancient scrolls contain secrets about energy, health, or the cosmos, would those in power want the public to know? Or would they keep it hidden for their own benefit? The destruction of the Library of Alexandria may have set humanity back centuries, but the real question is, are we finally on the verge of reclaiming what was lost? The Library of Alexandria remains one of history's greatest tragedies, not just because of what was lost, but because of what could have been. If those scrolls had survived, would we have reached the modern era much earlier? Would diseases have been cured centuries ago? Would space travel have started in ancient times? These are questions we will never have answers to. But what we do know is that knowledge is fragile. It can be lost in an instant, whether through war, disaster, or even intentional suppression. And that raises a bigger question. Are we making the same mistakes today? Think about it. Our modern world relies on digital knowledge stored on servers, hard drives, and cloud systems. But what if a catastrophe wiped it all out? A war, a natural disaster, or even cyber attacks could erase vast amounts of human knowledge, just like the fire that destroyed the Library of Alexandria. Are we truly protecting our history and discoveries? Or are we just one disaster away from another great loss? The lesson from Alexandria is clear. Knowledge must not only be preserved, but also shared. If we allow powerful institutions to control information, we risk repeating the same fate. So, what can we learn from this? The destruction of the Library of Alexandria teaches us that knowledge is the most valuable thing we have, and losing it can set humanity back in ways we can't even imagine. But we still have a choice. We can protect, share, and learn from the past instead of letting it fade into history. Because the real tragedy isn't just losing knowledge. It's failing to learn from it. The fire that destroyed the Library of Alexandria took away centuries of wisdom. But today, we have the power to prevent history from repeating itself. Never stop questioning, never stop learning, and most importantly, never let knowledge be controlled by the few. Knowledge belongs to everyone.